Have you ever walked into a crowded room, maybe a bustling local coffee shop on a typical Tuesday morning, or a tense family Thanksgiving dinner in the suburbs, and instantly known the mood of every single person there? You didn't just notice the atmosphere. You felt the exact shift in the room's energy before anyone even said a word. While your friends were looking at the menu deciding between a latte or a cold brew, you were already scanning the exits, noting the barista's stress level, tracking the annoyed foot tapping of the guy in line, and instinctively calculating the safest, most out-of-the-way place to sit. For a long time, you might have called this anxiety. You might have been told by partners, friends, or even therapists that you were just overthinking or that you were too sensitive. But what if it isn't a flaw at all? What if what you're experiencing is actually a highly evolved, deeply protective adaptation known as survival intelligence? If you grew up in an environment where things were unpredictable, where the rules changed without warning, where a certain heavy footstep on the stairs or a specific tone of voice meant danger, or where you had to act as the emotional thermostat for the volatile adults around you, your brain had to adapt. You weren't afforded the luxury of a carefree, oblivious childhood. Instead, you were enrolled in an invisible, grueling boot camp for emotional survival. Your nervous system became a supercomputer uniquely designed to predict the unpredictable and manage the completely unmanageable. Today, we are going to explore the 10 undeniable signs that you have developed survival intelligence. If you recognize yourself in these signs, it is time to stop judging yourself for the way your mind works. It's time to recognize the profound, quiet strength in what you've built, while also learning how to finally let your exhausted nervous system rest. Sign number 1. You are an absolute expert at micro-expression reading. To you, a sigh isn't just a sigh. A slight shift in posture, a microsecond of eye movement, the exact delayed cadence of a text message, you notice it all. You learned early on that the difference between peace and chaos often resided in these tiny, seemingly insignificant details. You can tell when someone's "I'm fine" actually means "I'm furious," and you often adjust your behavior instantly to de-escalate a situation that hasn't even happened yet. You can walk into a meeting and know exactly who is angry at whom simply by the way the silence sits in the air. While this makes you incredibly empathetic and an amazing friend, it is also deeply exhausting. Your brain is running a high-alert background check on everyone's emotional state 24/7, leaving you drained by the end of a simple social interaction. Sign number 2, you have an unofficial PhD in crisis management. When a sudden crisis hits, whether it's a flat tire on a busy rain-slicked freeway, a massive project failure at work, or an unexpected medical emergency, you don't panic. In fact, you might feel eerily unnaturally calm. The chaotic adrenaline of an emergency is a frequency your nervous system knows intimately. While others are freezing, crying, or panicking, you immediately step into action. You compartmentalize your own emotions, bark out clear directions, and execute exactly what needs to be done with cold precision. It's only hours later, when the danger has completely passed and you are sitting alone in your car or on your living room couch, that the delayed exhaustion, the shaking hands, and the adrenaline crash finally hit you. Sign number 3. You are a social chameleon who intuitively shapeshifts. You have an uncanny, almost magical ability to become exactly what the people around you need you to be. You can be the hyper-competent employee for a demanding boss, the invisible silent listener for a grieving friend, the entertaining peacemaker at a tense dinner party, or the mediator in a conflict. You read the room and seamlessly adjust your personality, your tone, and your boundaries to fit the emotional contour of the environment. This was a brilliant, necessary strategy to avoid conflict, criticism, or abandonment in the past. But the hidden painful cost is that you often find yourself staring into the mirror wondering who you actually are when nobody else is around to dictate your shape. Sign number 4. You obsessively over-prepare for every possible scenario. Your mind is constantly playing a game of three-dimensional chess with reality. If you are going on a weekend trip, you don't just pack for the weather, you pack for the absolute worst-case scenario. You map out multiple driving routes. You mentally rehearse difficult conversations days before they happen, and you always have a plan B, a plan C, and a plan D. If you are hosting a dinner, you have backup food, backup entertainment, and a strategy for every social dynamic. You fundamentally believe that if you can just anticipate every single thing that might go wrong, you can prevent the pain of being caught off guard or being helpless. Sign number 5. You struggle to ask for help even when you are actively drowning. For someone heavily wired with survival intelligence, relying on others feels fundamentally unsafe. Somewhere along the line, you learned the hard way that needing people meant being disappointed, ignored, or worse, being indebted to someone who might use that vulnerability against you later. So you became fiercely, stubbornly independent. You will carry a crushing, impossible load of stress, financial pressure, work, or emotional pain all by yourself before you ever let the words, "I need a hand," cross your lips. The phrase, "I'll just do it myself," isn't just a preference, it is your ultimate defense mechanism against the terror of being let down. Sign number 6. You have an intense startle response and chronic hypervigilance. Loud, unexpected noises, sudden movements, or an unannounced knock on the front door send an immediate electric jolt of adrenaline through your entire body. When you go to a restaurant, you intuitively prefer to sit in a booth facing the door, tracking who comes in and out. You strongly dislike feeling trapped in large crowds, or sitting in the middle rows of a movie theater. Your nervous system is constantly humming at a low baseline of threat detection. Even when you are completely safe wrapped in blankets in your own bed, a primitive part of your brain remains on guard duty, waiting for the proverbial other shoe to drop. Sign number 7, you are fiercely, dangerously protective of your inner circle. Because you know exactly what it feels like to be vulnerable, unprotected, and at the mercy of larger forces, you have absolutely zero tolerance for bullies or people who take advantage of others. You might be quiet, passive, or overly accommodating when it comes to defending your own boundaries. But if someone threatens your friends, your younger siblings, or anyone you perceive as vulnerable, you undergo a staggering transformation. Your survival intelligence includes an intense loyalty and a protective instinct that can be surprisingly fierce, putting you on the front line to shield them from the pain you know too well. Sign number 8. You feel disproportionate, crushing guilt for simply resting. To a survival-wired brain, stillness feels incredibly dangerous. If you aren't actively being productive, fixing a problem, learning a new skill, or anticipating the next disaster, you feel a deep, gnawing anxiety in your stomach. You have unconsciously associated your core worth and your physical safety with your utility and your output. Taking a quiet Sunday afternoon just to relax on the couch watching a movie without simultaneously checking emails or folding laundry feels nearly impossible. Your mind constantly whispers that if you drop your guard and enjoy the peace, everything you've built will instantly fall apart. Sign number 9. You collect information and data as a shield. You are a chronic, exhaustive researcher. Before you buy a simple household product, take a new medication, or even go to an unfamiliar grocery store, you read every single review, study the floor maps, and gather every piece of data you can possibly find. Knowledge is the one thing that gives you a tangible sense of control in a wildly unpredictable world. By intellectually mastering a situation before you step into it, you are desperately trying to insulate yourself from the agonizing vulnerability of the unknown. You substitute intellectual control for emotional safety. Sign number 10. You possess profound, quiet, unbreakable resilience. Despite the bone-deep exhaustion, the chronic anxiety, and the heavy lifting your brain does every single day just to navigate the world, you are still here. You have rebuilt yourself after situations that would have completely shattered others. You don't just survive, you find ways to create small pockets of peace, you find reasons to laugh, you build beautiful things, and you keep going. Your survival intelligence isn't just a record of your pain, it is a stunning testament to the indestructible, brilliant nature of your human spirit. If these 10 signs resonate with your daily experience, the ultimate reframe you need to hear is this: your brain is not broken. It is not defective. It is working exactly perfectly as it was designed to under extreme pressure. It protected you when you desperately needed protecting, but the gentle solution moving forward is recognizing that the war is finally over. You are an adult now, and you have agency, boundaries, choices, and physical safety that you simply didn't have back then. You can start very slowly and with immense self-compassion to teach your nervous system that it is okay to stand down. It's okay to let someone else carry the heavy bags for a while. It is okay to be surprised without it meaning disaster. Healing doesn't mean erasing your hard-earned survival intelligence. It means keeping the profound wisdom while slowly releasing the chronic, exhausting tension. It means choosing when to use those superpowers rather than having them run your life on an exhausting autopilot. You survived. You did it. The storm has passed. Now you finally get to discover what it feels like to simply live.